The moment Buckingham Palace officially announces an engagement, the world seems to hold its breath and start a silent countdown. And while the press speculates about the dress, the experts and collectors focus on one crucial question: which tiara will the bride wear? No royal bride walks down the aisle without history resting on her head. Behind the dazzling sparkle of these jewels lie dramas the palace would rather keep quiet. These are the tiaras that snapped just hours before the ceremony, emeralds hiding the secrets of lost empires worth tens of millions, and crowns reclaimed by the family after scandalous divorces. These pieces are far more than accessories. They are symbols of power and legacy. And so we begin with the image that changed bridal fashion forever and became one of the most iconic moments of the 20th century. On July 29, 1981, 750 million people tuned in to watch Lady Diana Spencer walk down the aisle of St. Paul's Cathedral. That day, the young bride made a choice that would define her entire path within the monarchy. She said no to the Queen. Elizabeth II had offered her the legendary Lover's Knot tiara, but Diana, perhaps wanting to show a sense of independence or honor her lineage, chose the Spencer family tiara instead. This piece is a true floral masterpiece, with diamond tulips, stars, and delicate scrolls framing a central heart. But few people know that this tiara is essentially a jeweled puzzle, made from 3 different components. Its central element was a wedding gift to Diana's grandmother back in 1919, while the side pieces date all the way to the 19th century. Only in the 1930s did the House of Garrard merge these fragments into the now familiar design. Yet despite being forever tied to the image of the people's princess, the ending of this story is bittersweet. The tiara was never Diana's personal property. Following the tragedy and the end of her marriage, her brother, Earl Spencer, reclaimed the heirloom for the family estate at Althorpe. Today, neither Kate Middleton nor Meghan Markle has access to the treasure, valued at around $500,000. It remains locked away in the Spencer vaults, perhaps awaiting the wedding day of young Princess Charlotte. If Diana's choice honored deep family roots, Meghan Markle's decision in 2018 became the spark for endless speculation. In his memoir, Prince Harry revealed that the couple had initially hoped to use one of Diana's tiaras, but the palace vetoed the idea, offering instead a selection from the royal vault. Meghan ultimately chose a piece that had slept in darkness for more than 60 years, Queen Mary's diamond bandeau. This flexible 11-section band, worth nearly $3 million, features a detachable brooch gifted to Mary of Teck in 1893. For Meghan, the choice was obvious. She wanted something clean and understated, fitting the simplicity of her Givenchy gown. The tiara completed the look perfectly, reviving a forgotten jewel. But like many museum-grade pieces, it was a one-day appearance. Meghan has never worn it again. Kate Middleton, however, faced a very different challenge. As the future queen marrying Prince William, she had to strike the perfect balance between modesty and status. Rumors suggested she dreamed of a simple floral wreath reminiscent of her mother's, but the scale of the event and royal protocol demanded diamonds. The answer arrived from Cartier in the form of the halo tiara, also known as the scroll tiara. It is the ideal first tiara. Not overly tall, not overwhelmingly heavy, yet immensely valuable. About $1.7 million, 739 brilliant cut diamonds, and 149 baguettes create the effect of a glowing halo around her head. The symbolism runs deep. The tiara was created in 1936, just weeks before its first owner became queen. The journey from duchess to monarch, once taken by Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, now awaits Catherine, and her choice subtly echoed the continuity of generations. But even the best planning and the finest jewelers cannot prevent disaster. History remembers moments when a bridal look nearly collapsed at the last second. And at the center of the most famous of these dramas was the Windsor family's beloved piece, Queen Mary's fringe tiara. Inspired by Russian kokoshniks, its 47 sharp diamond spikes give it a value of nearly $9 million. In November 1947, the young Princess Elizabeth chose it for her wedding to Prince Philip. 2 hours before the ceremony, as the hairdresser tried to secure the veil, a terrifying metallic snap echoed through the room. The antique frame had broken right in his hands. Only then did Elizabeth learn the tiara's secret. It was a transformable piece that could also be worn as a necklace, and that hidden mechanism had failed at the worst possible moment. The tiara was rushed by police escort to the Garrard workshop, where jewelers performed a near miracle, fixing and returning it just in time. Yet if you look closely at the wedding photos of Queen Elizabeth II, you can still spot a tiny gap between the spikes, a scar from that frantic morning. But beauty showed no fear of superstition. The same tiara was worn again in 1973 by the Queen's daughter, Princess Anne. And more recently, in 2020, Princess Beatrice revived the broken tiara, paying a touching tribute to her grandmother and becoming the third bride to wear the repaired masterpiece. If Elizabeth embodied duty and calm, her younger sister Princess Margaret was the very definition of rebellion and glamour, and her approach to choosing a wedding tiara was, to put it mildly, unconventional. Margaret didn't ask for anything from the royal vault. In 1959, she simply bought a tiara for herself at auction, treating herself to a truly royal gift. It was the legendary Poltimore tiara, a huge, majestic creation dating back to 1870. This Victorian masterpiece was an engineering marvel. It could be dismantled into a necklace and 11 separate brooches, making it incredibly versatile. Margaret adored it and broke every imaginable rule by wearing it in the most unexpected settings. The famous photograph of her sitting in a bathtub, wearing nothing but the Poltimore tiara, became an icon of aristocratic hedonism. And in May 1960, during the first ever televised royal wedding, 300 million viewers watched it sparkle. To the great disappointment of fashion historians, after Margaret's passing, her children sent the tiara to Christie's, where it sold for nearly £1 million, 5 times its estimate. The buyer's identity remains unknown, and the one-of-a-kind treasure vanished from public view. Interestingly, Margaret's love for transformer jewels lived on in the next generation. Her daughter, Lady Sarah, married wearing a piece with its own unusual history, the Snowdon floral tiara. Originally, it wasn't a tiara at all, but 3 separate brooches given to Margaret by her husband. For Lady Sarah's wedding in 1994, the designer of her dress suggested combining them into a single structure. That's how the delicate floral circlet was born, a symbol of creativity and family memory, proving that sometimes you don't need new gems to create a masterpiece. You just need a fresh vision for the ones already in the jewelry box. Margaret's daughter-in-law, Serena Stanhope, chose a different path. When she married Princess Margaret's son, David Armstrong Jones, she decided to echo her famous mother-in-law's style, but used another historic piece, the lotus flower tiara. Originally belonging to the Queen Mother, and now often worn by Kate Middleton, it became a symbol of continuity within the Snowdon family at that 1993 wedding, creating a striking visual link to Margaret's own youth. A very different story unfolded in the York branch of the family. When Sarah Ferguson married Prince Andrew, she, unlike Diana, had no family tiara, and her background offered no heirloom treasures. But Queen Elizabeth held her future daughter-in-law in such high regard that she made an exception and commissioned a brand new piece, the York Diamond Tiara, created specifically for the wedding. It became Sarah's personal property and remained with her after the divorce. Naturally, many assumed that years later, her daughter, Princess Eugenie, would carry on the tradition and wear her mother's tiara. But in 2018, Eugenie shocked the jewelry world. Not only did she forgo a veil to show the scar from her spinal surgery, she also declined the expected York tiara. Instead, she chose a piece of heavy luxury, unseen in public for 75 years. The Greville Emerald Kokoschnik. It is arguably the most expensive royal wedding tiara of recent decades, valued between $6 and $13 million. Its central emerald weighs an astonishing 93.7 carats. Created by Boucheron in 1919 for Dame Margaret Greville, the tiara had slept in the royal vaults for decades, until Eugenie awakened it to highlight her green eyes and craft a look filled with imperial grandeur. And if we look deeper into the extended Windsor branches, the Kents and the Gloucesters, we find stories worthy of detective novels, full of missing gems and dramatic transformations. Take the Kent diamond and pearl fringe tiara worn by Lady Helen Taylor at her wedding in 1992. Its elegant spiked design, topped with pearls, looks flawless, but historians know it once looked very different. Those pearls originally weren't pearls at all. They were massive Cambridge emeralds. Queen Mary of Teck, famous for her love of reworking jewelry, removed the emeralds to use in another legendary tiara, the Vladimir tiara, the one smuggled out of revolutionary Russia. The decapitated base was given to the Kent family, who replaced the missing green stones with pearls to disguise the gaps, creating a unique hybrid with a dramatic and complex past. But in this family, they love to blur the trail. There's another similar piece, the City of London tiara, a gift from the Lord Mayor, often confused with the first one. Yet this was the tiara chosen for the weddings of Princess Alexandra and the bold Princess Michael of Kent. It's a classic style that never goes out of fashion. Another hidden gem of the collection is the Ivy tiara, worn by Lady Rose Windsor at her 2008 wedding. It was a gift from the Guinness family, yes, the same legendary brewing dynasty, to Queen Mary. Unlike many other royal jewels, this tiara was never altered or redesigned. It has survived untouched, still shining with its delicate diamond foliage. Countess Sophie of Wessex, the wife of Prince Edward, received the Anthemion tiara for her wedding, a piece assembled by royal jewelers from 4 separate elements originally belonging to Queen Victoria. It became yet another example of how the Windsors excel at turning forgotten fragments into something entirely new. But is a royal wedding always a parade of carats and a showcase of wealth? History remembers brides who firmly said no to the weight of a crown. Let's return to 1923. Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, the future Queen Mother, did the unthinkable. She walked down the aisle of Westminster Abbey without a tiara. Instead, she wore a simple Tudor-style headdress and a wreath of myrtle, a deliberate gesture of modesty in the difficult years after the war. The lavish gift from her father, the Strathmore Rose tiara, she reserved only for her official portrait. This delicate floral piece, worn low on the forehead, like a 1920s bandeau, disappeared from sight for decades, until Kate Middleton recently brought it back into the spotlight. Princess Alice, Duchess of Gloucester, went even further. In 1935, already a mature bride with decidedly modern views, she rejected the traditional white gown in favor of a soft pink one. And instead of a diamond diadem, she wore a unique crystal headpiece, proving that you can shine without a single gemstone. And Zara Phillips, daughter of Princess Anne and an Olympic champion, chose the meander tiara for her wedding. A strict Greek key pattern. No flowers, no romantic curls. This tiara came from Prince Philip's family. The Queen herself never wore it, finding it too geometric. But for the athletic, contemporary Zara, it was the perfect choice. A piece that echoed her strong personality. From Eugenie's $13 million emeralds to Alice's crystal wreath. From Elizabeth II's broken frame to Lady Sarah's transformed brooches. The story of royal wedding tiaras is more than a catalogue of jewels and price tags. It's a story of choices. Some brides embrace imperial grandeur and status, others, family sentiment and simplicity. Some follow strict protocol, others rewrite it entirely. But one thing never changes. The moment a bride steps out of the car at the chapel, the world falls silent, dazzled by a sparkle of history that will outlive us all.